Hello and welcome to Hidden Existence, and it is also day 5 of the Bigfoot Odyssey Expedition, which has gone from one extreme to the other in light of all the circumstances of what's going on in the world at the moment. But we will get an update from Kerry halfway through the show. But before all that, my guest tonight is, don't tell Kerry, but my favourite co-host. Help me out. Don't tell Kerry. On plenty of occasions on the Researchers Report. And it is the wonderful Brent Thomas from Paranormal Portal. Hello, Brent.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Thanks for having me. I'm really thrilled to be on the news show now. I've missed working with you, so this is like good times.
Yeah, it was. We've had fun, haven't we? We've had some interviews, some interesting people together.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what's going on with the Paranormal Porthole at the moment? Are you
just busy, really busy? We went over to Washington State in the recent past and did a Bigfoot town hall over there with Stephen Majors and Adam Davies and Dr. Robert Alley, and it was a good time. It was really a lot of fun. Stephen Majors, of course, is the founder of Extreme Expeditions Northwest LLC, and went over there with them, and Don and I had a great time, met a lot of wonderful people. It was a smaller event, but it was just really, really cool. And so we did that, and we got back home, and we've been hitting it hard. We're still doing the podcast. We're still doing the nightly YouTube show. We're actually doing 3 podcasts a week. Every night of the week, we do a live stream YouTube. And then we're still on doing the internet radio on TFR Live. So we're just really busy, but things are going great. I mean, it's been a lot of fun.
Good. In light of this, the virus that's gone, because we can't ignore it. I know everyone's talking about it, and really we can't ignore it, and it's going to come up a lot in conversation. Are you noticing, because you've got a good community there in your chat room? I go in there sometimes, and because it's on late for me, but there's a lot of regulars in there. Do you think the community is coming together even more now because of in the last couple of weeks, maybe in with what's going on, people being locked down and stuff?
I think so. I think they are. I mean, they've always just been an amazing group of people. And I wish I could take credit for what's going on in that chat room, but I can't. I mean, they just kind of all found me and just created this really cool, tight-knit family of people that just really are amazing and amazingly supportive of what we're doing, of course. But, they're just always so kind and friendly. And I mean, the cool thing is that these people that chat there now, like after my show is done and the live chat is over, they'll go to other shows or other locations to continue their chatting. So, I mean, they really are truly this incredibly tight-knit group of people that have found each other. And I think everybody's concerned, obviously, with what's going on. And I think the full scope of what's going on is yet to be revealed. And I think some people are taking a lot of false security in those numbers that are going around. Well, we only got so many cases here, but I think that that's not an accurate count at all. I think that there's way, way, way more people infected, but they just haven't had the ability to test because of the shortage of the testing. So the numbers we're seeing are only the confirmed cases. So I think once the testing becomes readily available, I think those numbers are going to skyrocket, and that's going to scare a lot of people. But I feel concerned about it too. But I'm just glad that we have that community and we have that forum to try to think about something else, because you just can't live afraid. You just can't live your life afraid. And so, for me, if we ever do go into quarantine, it won't be so bad because I'm really a hermit anyway. Like, I really don't go anywhere. So it probably won't be a big stretch for me, but I know it's affecting a lot of people. So I'm just honored that so many are coming and checking out the show, because I hope that our presence can be therapeutic for people that are really trying to, get their head around what the hell's going on.
Yeah. Kind of the only social link now really is if you're not living with anybody and you are locked down, is the internet is now the time to, get into it, because this is where it's all going to be. And I think, we can really make the best of our time.
Yeah.
There's so much out there we could learn and find out. So hopefully there'll be some good comes out of this. But
absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Yep. It's a real cool time. But I think that the other cool thing is that we have at our fingertips the ability to talk to people from all over the world, so we don't have to get this this funneled, filtered vision of the global situation. We can just talk to our people from around the world on our chat rooms and find out what's going on. So I think that's really cool, and that puts us, I think, at an advantage in a way.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's talk about some spooky stuff then. Let's talk about some paranormal things. Now, you were mentioning there'd been some stuff going on at your house, and you.
Oh yeah. There's always stuff going on here, and I think for years I've thought, well, I think there's something to do with resonance and magnetism. So, and by that I mean the fact that every night of the week, and sometimes a few times a day, I'm interviewing people, talking about the paranormal. I'm creating episodes. I'm doing all these things, and so I'm constantly focused on this paranormal thing. And I think that can create a resonance or magnetism of sorts, that if there is anything in the area, what do they go, what the hell's going on over there? And they come over and stop in, because I have really, really strange things happening here, not only in the studio here, but in in the whole house. And it's sometimes it's a little freaky, but nothing too over the top. But I mean, I've seen a shadow person walk into my studio room and walk behind the monitors and then bend down and disappear. I mean, I've seen this, and that was really creepy. And I thought, it was really dark in the room at the time, and I thought, was that my wife? And so I got up and looked, and there was nobody there. It was like, oh my God, we've had TVs turn on, we've had lights blow out, and some of that is, you don't, it's hard to quantify all of it as paranormal, because things just happen, like glitchy things happen with electronics and electricity and stuff. So I can't say that everything that's happened here is paranormal in origin, but it's just the amount of things that have happened that are really profound to me. And so I've thought that for a number of years, that doing the show may be the catalyst for that stuff to be happening. But I just interviewed a dear friend that came into the studio, and she's a witch, and she grew up right next to the studio, and she's like, what happened here, don't you? I was like, no, what happened here? And it's really, really sad and tragic, of course. And I don't mean to make light of that, because it really does break my heart what happened here. And what it was back in around 2006. And this wasn't told to me by the real estate people. So this is all new to me. But what I found out was that there was a teenage boy that killed himself upstairs with a shotgun.
All right.
And so that, of course, would be a definite catalyst for having paranormal activity and problems. So that's what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what are you doing? Do you cleanse your house? Do you do anything like that with the smudge sticks and?
Sure. Yeah, I sage regularly. I burn frankincense. I use different scents, and lots of prayer and different modalities in order to do it. I don't just draw from one. I take from many different systems when I'm cleansing, and it helps. It certainly helps. It knocks the energy down quite a bit, but ultimately it comes back. So
yeah, I was seeing that in China, they're saying now they can hear the birds singing, they can see the skies are clearer. And in Italy now, in the ports, they're getting dolphins coming in and fish that they haven't seen. They drained some of the canal in Venice, and they're seeing fish that they haven't seen for ages, because there's no boats, there's no traffic. I'm just wondering if the environment's kind of changing with this virus. I wonder if these frequencies will come, the paranormal stuff will come through more, or have a different effect on how we experience things.
I think that's an interesting point, because I think a lot of people traditionally think, well, if you want to catch paranormal activity, you got to do it at night. And I think it's happening around the clock at any given time. But the difference, of course, being that at night, our lives are slowed down. We're more in a state of relaxation or disengagement anyway. And so when something happens, it tends to be so much more noticeable. So I think that it may appear like more paranormal stuff will happen, but I think it's just going to be more a measure that people aren't running around at the pace of modern society. You know, they're not going to be pushed to make appointments and to schedule this and show up here and get kids there and that kind of stuff. So I think as our lives kind of slow down, sure, it wouldn't surprise me at all if people experience more activity, but I don't think it's new activity. I just think that it's new to them because they will finally be paying attention.
Yeah. What's give me an example of a daytime paranormal activity that happened to you?
Oh, one time I woke up and went to the kitchen because, like, when I first wake up, I'm a pretty slow riser, you know. It's like I'm not one of those spring out of bed people. So my first thought, of course, was coffee, and I'm just stumbling into the kitchen, and I got into the kitchen entryway, and when you come in, there's a dishwasher on the right with the sink, and then the corner, and then going down, and on the opposite side, there's a row of cabinets and the stove, and there's a wall on the back of that. So it's like going to it through a doorway opening. And as I walked in, I was kind of looking down, and I saw, no kidding, a little orb of light, and it was about the size of a quarter, but it was this golden light come around the corner of the cabinets, go right up to my legs and past, and then disappeared behind me. And that was in broad daylight. I mean, it wasn't dark. It wasn't even, like a late morning kind of thing. It was, or like an early morning kind of darkness. It was broad daylight.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think the orbs are? What's your view on them?
I think that there's some kind of, like, I think that spirits can manifest however they choose. And so I think maybe if they're going to be physically visible, one of the most efficient things they can appear as is just a ball of light. I think that, like a full manifestation, I think would probably require a lot more energy because, and we get reports all the time of people seeing manifestations that look just as real as seeing, running into somebody on the street. I mean, it's indistinguishable from a living person, but I think that it's just a lower energy way to manifest and just showing their presence. I mean, I think it's very intentional. I think that that in most cases, spirits want to be noticed. And I can imagine that it must be kind of maddening because in some cases, if a person doesn't know really what the hell's going on, they're in that confused state and they're walking around trying to talk to people and suddenly nobody's answering, and nobody's doing anything. So I think that for a spirit to be acknowledged is a very powerful thing because I think people need acknowledgement. So I can't imagine that changes much just because, you're more physically challenged. But thank you. But I think that they like to be acknowledged. I think they like to be recognized as being there because otherwise they're just dismissed. And so I think they work on different ways to manifest and, hope that somebody sees them.
Yeah. Sorry, someone's trying to ring me when I'm doing a
Oh, put him on. Let's talk to him.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I think we've I might have showed you or sent you some links to Orbs Realm, and he has some really unusual shaped orbs, not just regular round. They were like ribbons, and
I've seen those.
Yeah.
Not with my naked eye though. I've seen the orbs, the balls with my naked eyes twice now. That was my second time. But I've seen the ribbon, like rainbow ribbons of light in an old flip phone photos that I took when I was on this in the forest behind the house I grew up in. And it was up on the hillside. And I just had this really weird vibe come over me. It was this really beautiful, powerful feeling. And I was like, this is amazing. Something's going on here. And so I flipped up. It was an old Motorola flip phone. I opened it up and started taking pictures. And on most of the pictures, going like in 3-dimensional, they were going. It wasn't just a flash across the screen, like a light leak or something like that, or a lens flare. It was these ribbons of light that were going around objects and back in, so they disappear behind them and reappear on top, in these really ornate patterns. And they were there. And it was like, that photo trick, being a photographer, I know you know this, but if you shoot at night and you have the long exposure, you take the flashlight and you wiggle it around. It looked like that, except it was rainbowy, and it would actually disappear behind objects and come up like on the top of them. And in this case, it was logs, dead logs that had fallen. And it was just incredible. And I tried, I didn't have a computer at that time, so I couldn't really transfer them, but I kept that phone forever, but it finally gave up the ghost, and I lost all of it. So unfortunately, I still don't have those photos anymore. But you know, it's like a lot of experiences. They can only be personal experiences at that point, because you can't validate those things to other people. So, but
No.
it's a very true experience.
You know, all the photos and everything, they don't say anything. It's like you say, it's the experience, and that you know, the person's account says more about a photograph.
Now, let me ask you though. You're a photographer. I know I've seen your work, and it's beautiful work.
Thank
But
you.
have you ever captured anything?
Yeah, once.
Yeah.
Once. I can probably pull it up actually if you give me a minute.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
I'll have to talk and think and do it at the same time.
Let's test your multitasking, Daniela.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. Basically, me and my friends. I was when I was interested in looking for Bigfoot in the UK. I found a little wood. It's a really old, ancient wood, and like really old. Lots of old, huge trees and stuff, and there's an energy about the place. I don't know what it is, but it's not scary, and it's not sort of inviting. It's strong, and that's the only way I can describe it. It feels stronger than what you are. That's the only way I can kind of put it. Anyway, I wanted to show my friend, take my friend down to this place. She brought a kid with her son, and we were looking around, and on the way out, it was a kind of a weird day. I found them now. We took a picture. I took a picture of him stood under a tree. Sorry, I'm trying to think. And
it's okay. It's a great story that continues to develop. I love it.
So, I mean, this could just be pareidolia. You know, we all know about that, but it's just the circumstances of this area. And gonna get this last one up. Oh God, I feel like I'm just waffling now. There was another a bit better.
You're doing great.
Yeah. Okay, we've got it. We've got all three now. Now I don't need to put them into StreamYard. So we took this picture anyway. I took this picture, and then it wasn't until I got back home later, I'm looking at it, and I sent it to my friend, and she sent it back to me. She went, "Oh my God, have you seen this?" And I was like, "What?" So I looked at it again, and she sent this in, and I was like, "That is creepy." So after saying all that, I'm just going to download them into here.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to see them, because I think that's fascinating. And I think it's also fascinating that the camera can capture so much more than we can perceive with our eyes. And it wouldn't seem to be that way, but you'd think our eyes would be so much better at picking up the different levels of light. But
yeah, especially with this. Now, this wasn't, any fancy photography at all. It was quite dark. We were in an area where the trees that, were over us. So it was all like limestone quarry stones. It wasn't I put it in the wrong place. So you tell me another experience, Brent, while I do this. Help me out.
Well, let's see. Another experience that happened here in the house that was really bizarre it's one I've talked about a bunch of times. I'm trying to think of another more recent one. I know so many things have happened. It just gets to be really hard to remember specific incidences after a while, because it's like, I don't know, I've been around this stuff so much of my life that just pulling a specific incident anymore is really tough. But in another situation, what had happened was I've told you guys that there was activity throughout the whole house. It's not just here in the studio, but my wife was in bed one night with my youngest child, who was I think he was about 2 at the time. And I just got done doing a show upstairs and came down, and I was exhausted. I'd been at it all day and stuff, and I was really tired and stuff. And she started telling me how my son was acting weird, and not weird in that he was weird, but he was actually getting frightened of something. And this is a 2-year-old child, and he was starting to say things like, getting this scared look in his eyes and saying things like monster. Like he was seeing something that was so disturbing enough for him that, he would run out of rooms. And this is a fearless child, he would go into anywhere, dark or light. He didn't care. but he saw something finally that really turned him, and he said the word monster, and I didn't really know what that meant. I mean, obviously, I thought, well, maybe he's really seeing something, and I asked him, did you see a monster in there? And he said, yes. And I said, I try, his vocal skills were pretty rudimentary then. And I tried to ask him what it looked like, and he really couldn't elaborate enough that I could get an idea of what he was seeing. But it was about a week later, we were at Walmart, and I was pointing out to my wife these, those chair things you can put on your bed. They're a pillow, but they kind of wrap around. They got like 2 arms on them and then a backrest.
Yeah.
So there was a bin of those in Walmart, and I was talking to my wife, because she likes to hang out in bed and do different things, reading and such. So I was like, maybe you want one of those? And I pointed to him, and then my minion Elijah, he looks at that bin, and he got big eyes, and he pointed at one of them and said, "Monster, monster, monster." He kept repeating it.
Wow.
And I was like, when what it was one of those, but it was solid black. It was absolutely black, and it had like really big fuzz on it. So it looked like it had really, not really clean edges. It was really like, nebulous kind of edges on it. And so I thought, my God, he must be seeing some kind of black mass, and he's getting that instinct that is scary,
Yeah, that's interesting.
Right.
Yeah, what a shame as well, isn't it? At that age, not to.
Yeah, and it's tough because of course you want to help your child work through things like that, but at that age he didn't really have the vocal skills. So the only thing I could do was, if he ever felt afraid, was just to reassure him that I'd go with him, and so I ended up making a lot of trips to the house that I didn't used to need to, but as long as it made him more comfortable, then it was fine.
Yeah, try and project something positive rather than
yeah
go on it. Okay, so I found the picture. This is just the picture there. You just see my friend's kids in the background.
Okay.
You see it's all lime quarry, and these yew trees in between. And I never got what she meant. She said, go in and look at the trunk.
Oh, nice.
And so if I go a bit closer, it's just,
yeah.
Why didn't I see that at the time?
Go back out to the bigger one, if you would, please. Now the bigger one again. And yeah, you wouldn't even see that unless I'm so surprised she caught that, but that's really good. I mean, that's very clearly a face.
Not a very nice one either.
Yeah. Like, get off my lawn.
Oh dear.
That's a great catch.
Yeah. Well, I think we've got a couple of people that want to come on. But before that, we've got a couple of people who want to come on.
Okay.
Things have been pinging and stuff, and so, but for now, let's bring on the BLB, bringing the news from where they're from.
That's correct.
Because they're in different places. So, guys, take it away.
How you doing over there, Adam?
Jake, it was a pretty good day here in North Creek. I'm about a little under 15 miles away from you over here. We did end up having some snow come down later in the day, and it ended up being about a 10-inch snowstorm here today, Jake. But as far as other things go, the lockdown's going okay. We have wood burning in the wood stove, and we had a nice macaroni and cheese dinner with some beans, and things are good.
I know.
How about you, Jeremy?
I've been on the computer off and on all day. We did lose power for a little bit here. 10 inches as well up on the Mockingbird Hill as well. Adam, I don't know how much of this we can release at this time until some of our other friends come over, but
you're talking about the hot topics, the inside information we have that's a little too hot for the public's ears right now.
Yeah,
that's what you're talking about. Okay. Maybe. I agree, Jake. I agree. I really do. A good call on that one. We don't want to let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. Right, Brent?
I agree completely. Cats are best left in bags.
They are. Except mine, of course. Mine's beautiful. She's awesome.
Don't do that at home, though. Don't get a cat in a bag. So you guys have got some news, but obviously you can't reveal that news yet. because we're waiting for Kerry to come on, and then I've got Brandon Shoma. He wants to come on, but I think he's going to wait. He's going to wait, but maybe I should bring him on. Should we bring him on?
I think you should.
Send him an invite.
Jake?
He wants to come on. He's done a lot of traveling.
More the merrier.
A lot of traveling. So
now I don't. I'm not sure exactly what happened earlier in the show when you guys first started out. It was about 5 minutes in, and I don't know if it was just a piece of dust or what, but I saw on the left side of Brent a lightish, whitish, light blue orb thing go zing like that. You could see it plain as day.
Wow. I did not see that. Huh. On my right?
It was on your left.
On my left.
You
over
said
here.
that.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, that's cool.
So around 5 minutes in, check it out. I'll check it out after the show. I'm gonna, look back and see if there's anything. But I definitely saw it. So
wow, that's awesome.
Yep.
Doesn't surprise me much at all.
Not from the stories I've been hearing out of you lately.
Well, I was telling Danielle about the house. I just found out that unfortunately back in 2006 in this house, a teenager had committed suicide upstairs, and so and I just found this out, and it kind of it's horribly tragic, of course, but it really makes sense. It really helps me to understand why this house, what's going on. So I mean, obviously there's a lot of tragic energy trapped here, I think.
Brent, did you go searching? Did you go fishing to dig that information up, or did someone just say, "Hey, this guy probably wants to know this," or how did you come across that?
Actually, I was doing an interview right here in the studio. A friend of mine, Jenna, who's a witch, came on last Thursday. I did an extended version of the show, and before the show, she's like, "You know what happened in this house, right?" She grew up right next door, and I said, "No, what happened?" So she filled me in on that. I was like, "Oh man, okay." Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
It came to me.
It came to you.
Yeah.
All righty.
You've had some creepy encounters, haven't you, Adam?
Oh yeah, lots and lots of them. I'm not going to go on and on, but just to cap it quick, I never believed in ghosts. Really, I had some little bit of weird things happen, here and there, but it could have been explained away as just being spooked or whatever. And then all of a sudden, one time I moved to this house, things started happening. And from then on for like 2 years, all this stuff happened, and it was in different locations, and it was crazy, but it made me a believer. And now it's completely like, yeah, it's obviously it's real.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Powerful, man.
It is.
I'd love to have you guys come on the show, and I know I've extended the olive branch before, but when the schedule works for both of you, just let me know. I mean, we'll get you on.
We're working on things like that, Brent. Actually, coming up here kind of soon is probably going to be a decent time for us to do something like that because, we can't go anywhere, and so once the house cleaning's done, which it's just about done, we'll be able to make something happen. That'd be awesome. I'd love that. Jake, would you like that?
Indeed.
Okay, good.
Definitely.
Now, nobody knows 808. He was going to come on. He's not going to come on because he's really tired. And now he's been doing a lot of traveling, but he did send me this.
Oh, I like that look.
Yeah. He's done some glam camping in the hotel room.
That is
sweet.
He never quite made it to where he needed to be. And, so yeah, he's in the chat now. Thanks for that. Someone called me Diana. I'm not quite sure who was that, but that's been my title now as Wonder Woman. So
yeah, that was just recently, I think, right?
I remember who said that.
Yeah, I remember that.
So hopefully Kerry will be on shortly. He's I've not heard from him all day.
Oh, really? I wonder what the boys are up to.
Well, I've kind of heard stuff, but we're going to find out soon, I guess.
Little here, little there.
So, missing time. Have you had any, Brent?
I've had what I think is a time slip before. Only one that I can think of, but it was years ago. I was driving with my oldest son in the car. It was before we lived out here back in Minnesota, and there's a blizzard. And I had just dropped off my middle son at his mom's house, and I had my oldest son with me to drive and keep me company as we drove through this horrible blizzard. And on this route, on the route back home, there was a really normally it's not a big deal, but you kind of have to take this twisting road down through the hills in order to get to the flat and on to the towns. But it's out in the middle of nowhere, and it's got huge embankments on the side of it. And I was really tense about it coming up. And I was talking to my son. I knew where we were. We just passed a small town just before it. And so I knew about 2 miles up the road we were going to hit that bad spot. And I was really stressed out about it. And it was the snow was so bad you could really only see about 5 feet in front of your car. It was just terrible. And we're traveling along. And I told him, look, we're going to be hitting this spot. So, help me keep an eye on what's going on. I'm not even sure if we're on the road most of the time. So help me keep an eye on where we are. And he's like, okay, yeah. And so it was like a minute or so after that. And I see a road sign that I couldn't possibly be seeing. And it said, welcome to Hay Creek. And that road sign is 2 miles past that twisty area. And we hadn't made even a turn. We were just going straight. So in order for us to have gotten there normally, we would have had to turn right, go down this steep part of the road and turn left, in an S shape. And we were just going straight, and suddenly we were past that spot. Now, I didn't feel anything. He didn't feel anything. And he said at first, my son said at first, he's like, Dad, what the hell just happened? I'm like, I don't know. But it was a really cool experience.
Yeah. When I was driving once, when I used to be a truck driver, I was going down towards the shuttle, if you heard of the train that goes underground from England to France.
Oh, sure.
It's on the M20, M2, and it's about an hour and a half from London, and it's just a straight drive down the motorway. And I came out of London, and the next thing you know, I'm coming up to the Ashford turnoff. It's like an hour and a half. And I felt like I don't remember any of the journey, but I think we do that. We can do that, can't we? If you're driving a long time, maybe. But for your son to be there and to have seen that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If he wasn't there, I would have never even repeated it because I would have been like, wow, how did I tune that out? But he was there and he brought it up and I was like, okay, I'm not alone. Good. So
it's weird. What do you think about these downloads people get? I'm going on to now UFO stuff. Sorry, what's Jake doing? Sorry, Jake.
Jake. I love his looks.
Nice hat.
He's looking
curious.
It just cracks me up. All right, I'm sorry. What was your question?
Daniela driving and gone fishing.
I mean, do you guys are you guys familiar with the story of Kurt Russell missing time a little bit during the Phoenix Lights? Him and his son were in a Cessna plane flying, and did you ever seen that clip? You should look it up. And
it sounds familiar, like I might have at one point, but yeah, that's definitely one I'd like to check out again because I think that is fascinating. And if anything, I don't know if it means that we have the ability somehow within us to step multidimensionally ourselves, or if there's some kind of divine providence that steps in and just yanks us through spots or something. I don't know what it means, but I think it's just incredibly interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like these downloads people get. I can't even kind of comprehend how that might feel. But
what do you mean download?
Where the people who are having ET or alien experience, and they've had something that they don't know has happened to them, and then many years later they get a download, which is a load of information about things that have happened to them.
Yeah.
I find that very, have you heard about anything like that? Have you talked to anyone?
Yeah, it sounds like PTSD.
That
sounds like what? PTSD? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think of the Benny and Barney Hill thing, but I only think the only reason they know what happened to them was because they went through regression hypnosis. But I don't know. I've had some people write in and talk to me about dreams that they've had. One person specifically was saying, I had this really weird dream last night. I don't know what to make of it. And it turns out it really, to me, sounds like an abduction. Like it was just really profound and lucid, but they don't know how they got there. They don't know what was happening. They were asleep in their bed. Next thing they're in this room, which looks like a surgical room, circular in nature. And there's all these strange beings around them that they don't quite know what to make of them. And the interesting thing is on the table, another table in the room, this person claims there was a Sasquatch sitting there, and they made eye contact, And she said, it was the most profound eye contact she'd ever had, in that she looked into the eyes of this being, and there was like knowledge and wisdom, and it was concerned as well about what was going on, but it was kind of in the same situation she was. And I thought, my God, is that not amazing? And then I thought, well, if they pick us up, and if they're cutting cows up and coring anuses and stuff, which I don't understand, but if they're doing all of that, and why wouldn't they pick up a Sasquatch too? Like if they're somehow studying us, I guess that makes sense. And maybe that's the correlation some people make when they figure that Sasquatch comes from outer space, because they see these UFOs and then they see a Sasquatch. Well, maybe the Sasquatch just got out, and got released or whatever. It's hard to know, but I don't know. It's such a spider web, all of this is.
Yeah, the mutilations. You think, what are they doing? They're kind of checking these cattle out. How many times do they need to do it before they?
That's my point. It's like these guys are supposed to be like, possibly millions of years advanced to us, and for some reason they're still just fascinated with cow anus. It's like, really, did you sort that out already?
Yeah, it's like
maybe they could be training their young ones. Could be doing it.
That's true.
School anus cutting school.
it's
I got an A.
Yeah, I bet.
Anyway, on that note, let's move on to something. What do you think would be the worst kind of paranormal thing to happen to you?
I mean, obviously anything to do with a demon, I think would just be absolutely horrible. I think that's, the word demon gets thrown around really cheaply in the paranormal circles, and I don't think many people even have any idea what the hell they're talking about. That I think a lot of people use it like street cred, like, oh, we were investigating the Johnsons, they had a demon infestation. Well, I don't think you just walk into a situation like that and walk out the same night with a success on your lap. I don't think so. Whatever these things are, they are incredibly powerful. They're incredibly dangerous, and they live to destroy people. They live to absolutely annihilate people. That's what they hate us for some reason. They are absolutely programmed to just wreak havoc. And so all these people that throw that around, but from what I can tell, and some of what I believe are very sincere experiences that I've heard, it sounds like about the deepest hell you could possibly experience while in this earth. But I think Dogman would be another one.
Oh gosh, yeah,
I think that would be horrible.
He seems like a bit of a pest, doesn't he? He really wants to scare the heebie-jeebies out of you.
Yeah. It just sounds like those. I mean, Bigfoot encounters are intimidating as hell. But the Dogman one, he just loves. It seems like this creature loves to get right up and just see you basically pee yourself. I mean, it's just that it wants to terrify you.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? There seems to be a kind of a link to fear.
Yes.
It's like once you've peed your pants, it goes, doesn't it? It's like it wants the ultimate. What is that thing? What are we calling them when we give them, when we're passing something to them? Do you think?
It seems like it. Yeah. What do you guys think?
I believe that I don't know, but I have a thought that maybe it's something else manifesting itself as scary as it possibly could. And since one of them, this Dogman representation, that, I did this, it worked great. Oh, let me try that. What'd you look like? I looked like this. It was awesome. He pissed himself. Okay, well, I'm going to try it. And now you have these ones that are similar but different. I mean, who knows?
What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, well, I think it sounds like I get the feeling that this thing is feeding off that energy. That Dogman wants to see that terror, that fear, and once he gets what he's got, he can bounce. And he's feeding off people's negative energy or trying to get negative energy out of them. I don't know. That's what's coming to me now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I agree that it seems like several of these real negative things in the paranormal, they do subsist on the fear for some reason. And maybe it's by virtue of being a possibly a lower vibrational entity that they need that vibration in order to, continue or to do whatever the hell it is they do. But they do seem to feed off of that. Now, I've heard this was something Don dug up a long time ago. It was from an old Coast to Coast episode, and he was Art was interviewing this Native American. Well, he wasn't Native American. I think he was a white guy, but he had studied for decades with the Native American shamans, and he gave them a name, and it's written down here somewhere, but I won't be able to find it within the scope of the show, I'm sure. But he basically said, they're not some of these like shadow people and stuff that allegedly drain people's energy. He said that it actually serves a utilitarian kind of purpose in that they are cleansing these dark negative energies from you. And I thought that was really interesting. It's like, well, maybe they do work that way.
Yeah. Pleco demons.
Like the gargoyle effect, but different.
Yeah, that kind of idea. But I thought that was really interesting.
They are the plecostomus of the demon world. The algae eaters. They're going off, taking off. They're doing a service, like you said. They're taking your bad energy, so you can peace out on the situation.
Yeah, that's perfect. I used to have a plecostomus. I love those things. They're awesome.
Cansquatch says mutilations in San Luis Valley more like related to biological agent that was released from government lab that infected cattle. Government never admitted it. Used it as an opportunity to test its effects on the. We've run out of letters.
I like that theory or that truth, whatever it is. That makes a lot of sense right there.
It's possible. There was a bad mutilation in Spain. A guy was found with really weird holes in him, and pretty much all his insides were taken. In awkward places for men, especially. Without, kind of it. But it looked like it was some chemical that can do that. So, but yeah, I don't get the mutilations and why they keep doing the same thing over and over. Because you'd have thought by now they would have.
Unless maybe it's a delicacy on their world or something. I don't know.
What do they eat? What do spirits and stuff like that eat? Do they eat?
Yeah. I mean, for the aliens, yeah. What were you gonna say, Jake?
Pineal glands, mostly. I thought.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I think you're right. I think I've heard something like that. That rings a bell for me for some reason.
Adrenochrome.
Yeah. I don't quite fancy it myself. So poltergeist, that's another nightmare thing to have to go through if you had your cupboards opening, doors slamming.
I experienced that. That was one of my first the things that really got me to believe in all this stuff and this type of paranormal stuff. Mm-hmm. It was really weird. And I didn't like it at all, and got right out of there. But like I said, it's a long, long story.
Oh,
stuff happening now.
Oh, give us a little bit.
Okay, so it was the wintertime when it was cold up here in the North Country, and I would go to work, and my housemate would go to work in a different direction, and I would always get home before him. And I'd get home, and the upper window above the roof was open on almost a regular basis, and we locked it every day before we went to work. And then it started happening in my bedroom, and I knew that my bedroom was locked before I left the house, and so my bedroom window would be open. I had things slamming around in the upstairs, big heavy things, just sounding like a trunk full of. I had this trunk up in my room that came with the house. It was locked. It was this old like leather trunk with the brass corners on it and whatever. It was this thing just sitting there. I used it as like a little coffee table in my room. And one night it sounded like that thing just lifted up about like 2 feet in the air, and it just dropped onto the ground. And like we were downstairs watching a movie when it happened, and it just shook the whole house. And everybody was like, "What is that?" And then eventually we got up the courage to go upstairs and look around. Not one single thing out of place anywhere. And just Yeah, really creepy. That house had bugs in it in the middle of the winter time. These weird bugs just all of a sudden started showing up in like the water in the sinks and stuff.
Mhm.
And really, really, really weird and really gross and really creepy. They were like, I don't know, these brown winged bugs with long legs, almost like spiders. They're like a mix between like a spider and a beetle. It was gross. It was very strange. So yeah,
Creepy.
That's
no
way
bueno.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'd be out straight
Uh-huh.
away.
I did. Eventually, I did. Eventually, it came to that we had a really weird night happen all of a sudden, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning when this stuff happened. I grabbed everything that I had, threw it in the back of my station wagon, and gone.
I don't blame you.
Mhm.
The hard part about poltergeist things is to know what the hell they are. There's ideas that they are manifest by the living, and usually it's in relation to some pubescent or prepubescent girl is what a lot of paranormal investigators believe. But you hear about poltergeist activity with adults as well. Now, is it a manifestation of some latent psychokinetic ability in a person? Maybe. I don't know. I mean, that's a real popular theory and such, but it seems to me it seems hard to believe that suddenly people on an unconscious level could just suddenly slam doors and do stuff without any conscious idea of it. Now, I don't know. I'm sure they're more schooled than I am, and I can't really dispute it on an intellectual level. It's just my gut feeling is, how the hell can they just suddenly like turn a corner and boom, they're moving furniture? It just seems really bizarre to me. But the other school of thought, of course, is that these are separate entities, and I guess I tend to believe that personally, and only because on an intellectual level, it's what makes sense to me. And not to claim that I'm an intellectual, but I'm just, when I think about how does somebody just suddenly manifest that, and then suddenly it unmanifests. Usually these poltergeist situations are only, really short lived, can be days, can be weeks, but not usually much longer than a month. And then so are these people just suddenly able to do this incredible thing unconsciously, and then suddenly they forget? I don't understand that. That doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know if you followed any of the Enfield poltergeist in England. It's kind of in the 70s, I think, with the girls, the sisters, and I mean they came into the house, didn't they? The guys who were studying it, they let them come in, and you kind of think maybe they could be jumping off the bed, and I don't know, maybe they could create that. But at one point, the youngest girl started talking in like a really Cockney, an old man's Cockney accent. It was just, okay, she can't, there's no way she can be doing that, putting that on. So it's really scary, actually, to think, it could just happen to anyone. But obviously must be a reason why they can latch onto you, I think. But what that reason is,
Susceptibility, weakness of some sort, an easy, the path of least resistance.
yeah.
Seep right in there.
What do you think, Jake?
All the above. All the above.
Oh, look who it is.
Who is it?
I did wonder where he'd. How you doing?
Look at this guy.
What's up, guys?
How's
Hey,
it
Kerry.
Hey, turn your volume down, play.
Are you in the woods there? Looks a bit,
Yeah, you see the woods we're in?
yeah,
That's a hell
wow.
of a tent. That's a great tent.
Campfire. Look at the fruit bowl.
Looks like the TARDIS.
Look at the campfire. Yeah, no, we got shut down again for the third and final time.
Oh no.
We were done after this, yeah. Yeah, landowner's brother. I think it was the number of people we had out there. He was just, the corona thing going around. Didn't want us all staying out there, so we respected that. And Daniel was very apologetic,
Yeah.
The other landowner, we won't say his name. He knows who he is. He's a coward. We'll say that.
Yeah.
But it kind of runs in the family, I think. Yeah, wouldn't talk to us face to face. Yeah, just that's what it is. Is what it is. You know, I think we have enough to tell a story of what we went through
Cool.
for the past 5 days. It's been a lot. It's been quite a bit. I'm just Linda's telling me I have to go back to Texas because they're about to shut everything down. So I need to get there. I don't need to be shut down here at home. So
Okay. Well, you know, you tried. All of you tried your very best.
we have, and it's not like we're empty-handed. We got a really good story, I think. You know, the way it all got filmed, what I have put together. We got some good campfire stuff. We got some good field stuff. The drone stuff that I have already. It's going to work out. It'll be good. I'll narrate through it and tell everybody what we went through. And, you know, we didn't catch Bigfoot on camera. But once we lost Florida, we kind of felt like we weren't going to anyway.
Yeah.
We were just going to kind of hope and do our best, you know, because we had been planning this for so long. So, but it is what it is. And Clay and Jason and Malcolm are all still here.
Bye.
Hey guys.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah,
Hi, buddy.
we did have a couple of things going on tonight. You know, we came here and we did a little round table and kind of discussed everything that was going on. And of course, Kerry made dinner for us tonight. He had some ground dinner meat, mixed it with some noodles and some peas and some broccoli and cheese and everything. So we did have a really good dinner tonight and everything.
I'll use the recipe, Adam.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask for that. Yeah, I'm writing it down what I can right now.
Right, yeah. So we did have a little round table tonight to, you know, kind of discuss everything that's going on and kind of discuss the struggles that we've gone through, and which has been a lot. You know, I mean, it's been tough. We've gone through a lot here and everything, but you know,
You all have,
but
yeah.
I think we're all gonna you know, kind of chill here tonight and kind of relax a little bit, and you know, we'll pick up things. I think 6 months from now, I think we're gonna have a blast. I really do.
Me too.
I think this was kind of a trial run. I think we got some kinks worked out. You know, we got some kinks with the drone worked out, and we got some, you know, we got the feel for the team members and everything. So I think we're gonna be ready to roll here in about 6 months, and I think it's gonna work out perfectly. I really do. So, you know, this is just kind of a trial run. You know.
Yeah.
You've done it. Jay's done, I think.
We're all exhausted. It's hard to explain. I think when you're stressed out mentally over things, and then as much moving, unpacking, packing, unpacking, packing, unpacking, and moving, it's just been it's been tough. But this is what I made right here. I just want you to see this. This is Knorr.
Rock.
It's cheddar broccoli, and I took 3 pounds of ground deer meat and put in with this, and made sweet peas on the side, and it was good with Hawaiian rolls. Hawaiian rolls.
Hey, it was fantastic. It was fantastic.
So that's what we ate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, something good's come out of it. You know, you've got some new recipes.
Everybody's gone. Everybody's gone except Jason, Malcolm, Clay, and of course we're here at my house.
Yeah, a couple of them left up to go check out the LBL site. That was on the way home, so they kind of decided to go, you know, check out that area and kind of explore the area and see what they could do and everything. So they're doing that on their way back home, but I think you know, a couple of us are just gonna kind of, you know, settle in here and
they'll give us that stuff on Dropbox.
Absolutely.
We'll get it in the film.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Well, you know,
We're sorry. We are. The coronavirus is just completely
apologies.
and totally shut us down.
Hey, we did what we could. You can't say we didn't try. You know?
We definitely tried.
We're all proud of
try.
you. I can't speak for everybody else, but I certainly am proud of you all for going out there and just doing it. With what's been going on.
It was work. It was a lot of work. I know. I worked. These guys worked their asses off, and I would go into battle with any one of them. There might be one or two I might draw out of there.
For real.
But for the most part, most of these guys are they're going to be with us in Florida, and it's kind of a good thing, I guess. If we're going to pull any silver lining out of this at all, it's going to be that we've gotten to know each other well enough to know mannerisms and kind of how we react with one another.
Yeah.
I think these guys were worried about me in the last place we were, more than they were worried about doing anything else. They kept looking to me. They were worried about me, and I was not good. I wasn't for a good while, but yesterday I think it finally everybody loosened up and was like, okay, let's just get out. We'll go scout, and they got some footage. They found a lot of good stuff. I've got 14 hours of audio to go through where I know we got something.
Wow.
I know for a fact we got something on there. I just got to go through and pull it out. So we'll put it together and everybody will get to see exactly what we did. And that's it.
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
You guys get some rest. And
Yes, I'm going to die.
Yeah, don't die. Get some rest.
I'll wake up. I'll come back to life. I'm going to die and come back to life.
Yeah, oh, that's good then. Like resurrected.
Yes.
Okay, well done again. We're all proud of you.
Here we are.
You did your best.
All right. Sorry it took us so long to join. It just
It's fine.
I actually got reminded of it. We just got back to the store, and it's been a lot of
yeah, our schedule got thrown off.
yeah, we got thrown off quite a bit. Logistics, you know how it is.
You made it in the end. That's the most important thing.
We made it. All right. Well, y'all have a good night, and we'll see you. What's tomorrow? Tuesday? Yeah, we'll do regular research report Wednesday. I'll have more details.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All righty.
Good night, Daniela.
You have a great night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, Linda. Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Night, Linda.
Night. Oh, what's happened here? There we go. Oh, that's it, guys. Basically, they've called it a day after many days and a lot of hard work and effort and traveling and having to cope with so many different changes.
Yeah,
they're still mentally in one piece, which is pretty good.
It is good. I mean, when it was really hitting the fan there, when it was like starting to be revealed that it was the severity of what it was when these guys were moving and trying to set things up and then getting shifted around. I was just like, I cannot believe that they're still together and still making an effort to make this happen. It was extremely impressive, and the guys are great. I was kind of blown away by the whole effort with everything that's going on.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. What do you think, Brent?
I think it's incredible. I have my hats off to all of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just knowing that, to see Kerry back out there is really cool. I think that's huge. He's come a long way and dealing with his own experience. So that to me is just amazing. But I'm really excited to hear what they got. I'm really excited to hear those sounds.
Yeah.
I kept saying
one feather in their cap. They can always say it took a worldwide pandemic to shut them down.
Yeah, it did.
Those guys got through everything except for that global. Except for that.
They've drawn a lot of experience from this, and that's the main thing. And it is what it is. It is what it is. But I'm going to be back here tomorrow night because I booked guests for a week for the whole expedition. So we're going to keep going. We will keep going. But I've got Scott Carpenter on tomorrow night, so that is going to be a really good show. I've got lots of questions for Scott. I'm sure lots of people have. But we have come up to our hour. Thank you so much, Brent. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you back by my side, like the old days. You know,
It's nice.
days. Yeah.
Good to see all you guys again. I really have always enjoyed doing this with you, and Adam and Jake. Thanks, guys. It's great to see you guys. I'm really curious about. I heard mention of some kind of project that's in development. I'm really curious about that.
BLB the movie?
Huh?
BLB the movie?
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. Well, that was we were moving forward with that. Now we're just writing.
Okay.
Me and Jake are working remotely at this point, so things have changed a lot. But we're still. It gives us more time to polish it before we get out there and start shooting.
Yeah, I heard that Long Don Beard might make another appearance.
Oh, that. Oh,
yeah, that too.
He plays the keyboards.
Ooh, nice. That's fitting.
What's that? What's that?
What?
We'll see you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central. Take care, everyone. Look after yourselves in this time of craziness. Keep the doors locked. Avoid people. But come on Facebook and YouTube and talk to us all here. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night.